My first steps. I stood there tittering, so proud, ecstatic as a baby bird learning it could fly. When I look back, my smile about to break my face, I couldn't find you. Mommy, where were you? I just quoted from the beginning of the poem that opens the book entitled The Emotionally Absent Mother, How to Recognize and Heal the Invisible Effects of Childhood Emotional Neglect. The book was translated in Romanian by Trei Publishing House, and it is a self-healing guide for people who had a distant, distracted, or even absent mother. The author, Jasmin Lee Cori, a psychotherapist specialized in working with adults who experience childhood abuse or neglect, was kind enough to accept talking to us about her book. Thank you, Jasmin Cori, for being with us.
Thank you.
Your book, The Emotionally Absent Mother, targets mainly the men and the women who were under-mothered. Supposing that the majority of people who watch our interview were not physically abused in childhood and that their mothers did care about their basic needs as food, clothes, schooling, and so on, are there any chances that they fit in the class of under-mothered people?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's not a very high bar to say that if you provide those basics, food and shelter, you know, schooling access, you know, that you have completed the very huge job of being a good parent, right? And here we're talking about mother specifically. So there are all kinds of other roles, which I talked about in, I think it was chapter 2 of my book, you know, that mother has to fulfill to have adequately mothered somebody. You know, they're there to be a cheerleader, a nurturer, you know, a mentor, a protector, a home base, you know, one that helps you know yourself, a mirror, I call that. So there are many, many other roles, you know, that relate, you know, we could say more to the emotional development of the child and the thriving of a child.
What does it mean to be under-mothered from an emotional point of view?
Well, you're not getting the basic emotional building blocks that you need to feel seen, to feel accepted and loved for exactly how you are, you know, to be considered precious, you know, to be protected by somebody who loves you. You know, all of those are very important.
I see. You know, when we begin to rediscover and work through our earlier wounds, we also tend to get angry and blame our mothers for all the good things they didn't provide, for all the good opportunities we lost. How can we manage these negative feelings? Should we, for instance, call our mothers and tell them how wrong they were in their parenting, hoping that so we will ease our pain?
Yeah, well, I'm going to break that question up. First about the feelings and then about actually confronting mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in terms of the feelings, I think we start by, you know, I would reframe. I wouldn't call them negative feelings. That's almost as if you're doing something wrong, okay? Mm-hmm. I would say they're natural feelings, they're honest feelings. They're probably even necessary feelings to integrate all aspects of your experience. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we start from there and we recognize that, you know, there's a real art to, you know, being able to be with feelings in a way that helps them metabolize them. You know, we have to integrate them, we have to complete them. So we certainly have to feel them. And we want to feel them without necessarily a kind of knee-jerk reacting or acting out. Right? So we have to be able to hold our own feelings, even though mother probably was not able to hold our feelings. So, you know, that becomes our work to do. And certainly the right psychotherapist could be very helpful in that process. mother, in my experience, usually is not going to be helpful. Okay? About, I would say 95% of the time, is certainly bringing anything that is going to be felt as criticism to mom is not going to have a positive outcome. One, she's likely to be defensive. You know, this is a very important role. She might even be quite identified with. And, you know, you're rocking the boat. Also, she was not very attuned to your feelings in the first place. So that may not have changed. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's difficult. Sometimes we have kind of a two-track experience, and we have to separate them. We have to know that, okay, as an adult here, I am in this moment maybe interacting with my mother, who in some ways is the same, and in some ways is a different person than she was before, you know. So there's an adult kind of relationship in the present moment. And then at the same time, to be aware that, you know, what I've called the inner child, you know, even without that concept, you could say feelings you had as a child toward this person, and, you know, the anger and sometimes rage that child might naturally feel. Mm-hmm. So the more we keep them a little bit separate, you know, then we're not just marching into mom as an angry child.
I see. Your book stresses upon the ways in which we may care about our inner child, as you already said, but at the same time, you underline another essential healing factor. You call it connecting with good mother energy. What do you mean by that?
Well, some fundamental attributes of the good mother, you know, caring, warm, accepting, helpful, you know, kind of energy. But the essence of it would be probably the word holding, that there's some kind of a holding quality. You know, I'm here with you, protecting you, holding you, treasuring you. And so that energy certainly is not limited to mother, and especially an emotionally absent mother who's not very good at it. Okay? So we have to be able to recognize good mother energy so that we can become a good mother for ourselves. So sometimes we recognize it maybe when we see it in a movie, okay? Mm-hmm. And it brings tears to your eyes, right? And a feeling deep inside, oh, I wish I had that. Right? It could be, I've had many clients who felt that from like a mother-in-law, or what I call a kind of substitute mother or a mother figure when they were growing up. They just gravitated toward any other mom who seemed to be a kind of fully functioning, caring, nurturing mom. Okay? So it could be other people, could be animals. I mean, animals, pets, you know, feel loving and accepting to you, you know. It could be other parts of nature, you know, that many people feel holding, like mm-hmm. maybe in a favorite stand of trees or something like that. But, you know, I also in the book talked a little bit about, you know, kind of beyond this physical reality. So, you know, in the archetypal or spiritual realm, you know, there are certainly well-known figures, good mother kinds of, or divine mother figures. So, you know, any of those different ways, you know, we want to say, I love good mother energy. I'm going for it.
You're talking in your book about a portable good mother that we have to carry with us. What does it mean?
Exactly that we want to carry it with us. So in healthy development, we internalize that good mother figure. Mm-hmm. It becomes part of us. And actually it becomes part of our psychological structure there that's providing support, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, my own experience of that was really kind of internalizing a therapist who had many good mother qualities. And then, I talked about that as the portable good mother.
When we try to heal and our soul wounds, usually the first and the closer support we have is our partner. Can we ask them to help us? Wouldn't be it too much to invite our partner to take the role of the securing and nurturing mother we lacked in childhood? Wouldn't it be like choosing to regress to a child position, inviting the partner to become the responsible and powerful parent?
I think in your question, you bring up the risk, right? Mm-hmm. The risk is putting them in a parent to child role. And that's not going to be good for an equal kind of adult-adult relationship, right? Mm-hmm. But the problem is more regressing to the child and expecting or demanding the partner provide all of those needs, which, could get you reinforcing the sense that you need somebody outside to do all of that. So we have to differentiate between putting them in the role all the time, and now I get to be remothered, versus more boundaried and specific times asking for something from the partner, knowing it's not their job, right? They're not your mother, but they could, provide some of the emotional mirroring or holding, mm-hmm. or physical holding, they can provide some of those, but it's almost like, in that moment stepping in and maybe even verbalizing, okay, can you be with my child right now? Or can you be with the adult me while the adult me is with my child right now? Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. So, the partner and establishing a secure attachment is very healing. But regressing and expecting a parent-child role is not going to usually work.
Mm-hmm. All that remothering process is very difficult. When do we need therapy in order to accomplish this process?
Well, I think I have a bit of a bias there. I think more often than not, I think that is very hard. It's kind of like asking the child who is prematurely expected to be grown up to do the same thing here in this healing process. So it's helpful to have somebody who is trained in a way to let you regress at moments and yet remember that you are an adult in the healing process. Mm-hmm. And not to get into, I'm the parent figure here.
I see. Navigating all this self-discovery and self-healing process as adults who try to remothering themselves could be, as I said, exhausting. How could we keep the right balance between our inner healing journey and our daily tasks as parents, partners, co-workers, and so on?
Well, that's the skill we all need to learn, that balance. And usually, certainly in American culture, we tip toward, okay, take care of the outer responsibilities and at the expense of or sacrifice of the more inner and emotional needs, right? And those not just emotional, because often people neglect their basic physical needs, like I'm thirsty, or I need to get up and move, or, those kinds of things, right? So we need to learn to do both. And when we do not, we repeat, our childhood, where we're saying to ourselves, in effect, my emotional needs, my personal needs are not that important. Just get it together, do what's needed. Okay. So we don't want to do that to ourselves, right? We're trying to do it in a different way. So learning to attend to that is very important. And at the same time, really good self-care means you don't let your life fall apart. You're not so busy emotionally processing that you don't have food in your cupboard or your refrigerator. Right? You take care of business. That's part of, good mothering.
I see. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jasmin Cori, for your clear and warm answers, and also for the insights you offer in your book, The Emotionally Absent Mother.
You're very welcome.